that kind of dynamic of making sure that we are rightly using the things of our life, but also not objectifying the people in our life to what they can produce, what they can provide for us. And this objectifying of the individual to provide this pleasure or this, useful experience for me. But I find that it's not uncommon that we see a lot of people who actually, they don't just kind of blur the lines, but they completely invert it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They love their things and they use people to increase their things.
Of course.
Of course. And I know this is a whole societal issue and things like that. But what John Paul II is actually beginning to open your eyes and peel back the layers to is like the rightly ordered person who uses things and loves people. Yeah. Then isn't going to be so attached in his love of things that he then uses a person to increase his things. Yeah. And then you can see how this starts to not chastity and is a part of a greater fabric, but really, really does help and assist when we understand it in the personalistic norm here, that chastity helps us to actually right order our entire life. Yes. It's particularly about our sexual desires, but with this motivation, with this understanding of the fact that I should love people and use things, not love things and use people, then I start to actually strive for excellence in the proper way in the entirety of my life. Not just in the sexual desires, but in the entirety of my life.
Yes, and this is where JP2 realigns. So chastity is traditionally under temperance, which is in a sense kind of the lowest of the virtues, but moderating the passions of sex, food, and drink. But he says, of course, because charity is the form of all the virtues, and he puts chastity as partaking, in a sense, more of even that love of charity for love of God and therefore love of others, such that then it does, as you say, reorder your entire viewpoint of how you see the world. And not only the world, but also how you see God. The point of chastity is not just to make sure you don't misuse people by not using them, but rather treat them as persons, but that you love persons in the right way, in the full sacrificial way, such that you start to get a sense of what it means to love God and see him loving us on the cross. So instead of, again, diffusing down to the ground, it's pointing us up to heaven. And that's why anyone is chaste, is because the virtue of chastity leads to the virtue of charity and love, redirects us, unifies, integrates us for what we ought to be, so that paying attention and seeing people as with chaste eyes, seeing people with chaste eyes means that you'll be able to see and loving them with chaste hearts means that you'll be able to see and love God in them and above them, which is the reason why, again, we all have to aim for chastity. Yeah. And us as religious are the eschatological sign of that there's only one person, 3, that we should be really loving in this full way. Father Gregory.
'Tis I.
How many goldfish did you have growing up?
I think like 3, one mostly at state fairs. They didn't last too long, and I flushed them.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Godsplaining.